This is a Channel Africa podcast. You can also get Channel Africa on satellite PAS10, DSTV audio bouquet 802, and OpenView bouquet channel 628.
If you're not familiar, welcome to Hardlines. This is where we take deep dives into the soul's most profound experiences of love, healing, and spiritual transformation. Tonight, we explore the intricate dance between love, the mind, and spirit. Love is energy. It is constantly shifting, evolving, and seeking higher ground. We had an opportunity to touch base with a woman whose wisdom transcends time and tradition. This is Dr. Mmatheo Motsisi. Now, with nearly 3 decades of experience in indigenous healing, acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, and integrative healthcare, she has dedicated her life to guiding others toward holistic well-being. Dr. Motsisi will be sharing some insights from her transformational book, The Gem Lotus of 1,000 Petals, an invitation to embark on a sacred journey of self-liberation and spiritual awakening, as she will be illuminating us and, of course, giving us a deeper understanding of how love is the inheritance of our spirit being and how the names we carry hold purpose and why understanding our divine calling is essential for healing.
Hardlines. Your late night window into Africa's deep conversations.
Thank you very much for the granted opportunity to also share and having awakened and still on the journey of coming home to self, to also invite others to join, and we all to the call to awaken and to embracing the authentic self.
Sure. Let's start with the concept or the understanding of authentic self. Today's fast-paced reality almost has us feeling like we are ever evolving into something new and different, whereas the crux and core of an individual isn't necessarily the most sought after thing. We look to develop traits, skills, abilities, and sort of lose touch with who our authentic selves are. Let's just define that. Let's give that definition.
Okay, when we speak about the authentic self, I, for one, for a long time, I didn't even realize that I was not actually aligned with my true self. Because when you are raised and you are in this world, this physical plane, the 3D dimension, you go through conditioning. The first 7 years as a child, you go through conditioning. By those who are raising you, you imitate the parents. So basically, it's a copycat of the one who's raising you. Then you go through from 7 until 18, you go to school. It's another way of programming. So you are programmed because you are being prepared to, when you finish finally, to probably play a certain social role in the community, so you should be wired in such a way that you fulfill certain expectations that will allow you to function within a specified role with rules and regulation. And if you cannot operate within the stipulated rules and regulation, you're either a misfit, or you're unproductive, or you need to be upgraded, or even further terminology, you need to be regulated. So when you are authentic, most people, including myself, for a long time, I was not even aware of that. But when you are authentic, you actually realize that you can no longer operate within the prescription and the expectations and the so-called norm of the society, because that which is considered normal, it's subjective. It depends on who's actually labeling it normal. Somebody's what might consider something to be normal, and to me it might be abnormal. Remember, in this world, we tend to make reference to the opposite. We see things through the field of opposite, which we call dualism, which means it's either good or bad. So we label things. We do not embrace the whole. In the whole, there's the aspect of the so-called dark and the aspect of the so-called light. But it's still part of the whole. Let's go back to nature, just to make it simple. You look at nature. During the day, we see the light, and then the light will gradually yield. In the evening towards sunset, then the night will kick in. It's the dance. The night is not competing with the light. It's actually yielding to the night and saying, it's your time to shine. So I'm actually going to allow myself to go to sleep. The sun is sort of like, I'm yielding, and I'm giving energy. I'm handing over the reins to you, the night, to actually rule the night. And then at the break of dawn, the sun will also say to the night, it's my turn now. Let's change the dance. I'm in charge. So in us, we have the light aspect of ourselves and the dark aspect of ourselves. It's just unfortunate that in this 3D is this dimension that we are in, the 3D dimension. The physical realm, there are many dimensions, up to 9 in our galaxy, but I'll stick to 3D. In this realm, we've been taught and conditioned to operate using opposite. It's either good or bad. It's either light or dark. Everything, even when you are a child, I remember when I was being raised as a child, if you behave in a manner that your mother will be happy with how you behave, you will be given a lollipop. I grew up during those times studying lollipop. You will be given a lollipop to suckle because, goodness Lord, what a behaved child. If you do what she doesn't want, you'll be told, no, you're naughty. So you operating. Imagine a child, I can reflect to myself. Imagine a child, you operating, but you must always be on guard. I might be punished for just being myself. I might not get my lollipop because I'm offending the one who's watching me. So you act to please those who are watching you. You act to fulfill the expectations of others. And this carries on. You go to school, it carries on. If you answer in class in a certain way, the rest of the class might laugh at you because it's not what is expected. You must, you regulated, you must behave in a certain way. You go to the work environment, you must be regulated. People will be regulated. You must behave, you must dance, you must speak, you must, everything. It must be at a set prescription to the dot. But if you operate outside that prescription, you become a black sheep. I grew up being a black sheep, and I tried to belong. I'll say black sheep, and I wanted to be a white sheep. Remember, we work under black and white. So I wanted to be a white sheep. Every time I tried to fit into the white sheep, I realized it doesn't feel authentic, but I didn't know that it was authentic. It didn't feel real. It felt like I'm compromising who I am as a being here on earth who chose, a spirit that has chosen to take form and operate in a physical body for the primal purpose of experiencing and experimenting with life in form. So I needed to behave in a certain way, which I find people are already behaving in a certain way, and it's second nature to them. They don't question anything. I also followed that pattern until I felt I was suffocating. And when I realized I was suffocating, I realized I've gone so far from my real self, the authentic self, that I no longer know who I am. I'm actually a product of the expectations of others, and I'm living a life to make others comfortable at the expense of being authentic to self.
What a profound response, Doctor. And I say this because, for the most part, we would think that systems of governance, you labeled them as being programmed, would sort of enhance the way and fashion the way we respond to life, therefore making it easier to exist in this realm. And so my question to you is, what is your take on love? And I say love because the reason we strive as individuals, this is psychology. Psychology states that there's a level of acceptance we so desire, right? This is why we will conform. This is why we will adhere, we will yield to belong to certain programs, if you will. And so if we are allowing ourselves to do that, seeking and sorting after this acceptance, the question of what role does love play?
That's a profound observation, and I respect you for that insight. And it says a lot that you actually you have your lights on. Because if you have your lights on, you can actually realize that the core of everything is love. Love is divine power. But in this world, we've made love a merchandise. You can buy it, you can sell it, and we think it's love. We even have, I will mention because it's just popping, but people might not understand. Love is something that it's like an entertainment. You can give it, you can deprive someone. But let me tell you what love is. Love is our true God nature. It's our spiritual heritage. It's our true God nature or divine nature. It's love. And you don't need to seek for love outside of self, because it doesn't lie outside of self. And I will always make reference to myself, because I believe that when you refer to yourself, you're saying to those others whom you're sharing the platform with that I'm not perfect. I've gone through my own thorns. And having gone through my own thorns, I have come to this realization. So don't seek for perfection outside of self. I'm sharing this because I say I've gone through that. It might resonate with you. There's a saying which, while I was on this journey, and I realized that, awakened to a profound truth that you cannot give to others that which you do not have in you. And if you don't have in you, you will seek for that which you don't have in you, which you think you don't have in you, from the other. So you think you are this empty vessel who's looking for love, and you look for that love from others who are also looking for that love. So 2 empty vessels, 3 empty vessels, 4 empty vessels, expanded. But what is love? Love is divine nature. Love is that which you cannot buy. Love is that which those who read a Bible, I say those who read a Bible because they might relate. When you read a Bible, there's a part, I don't know which part of the Bible, okay? But it says, God is love. So, if you say God is love, the other name you could attach is that love is God. And if we are created in the image of the Creator, the Supreme Spirit, and as a soul, we are the microcosm of the greater spirit, who is the macro. We are a miniature of the greater spirit. This is why we say a soul. So if in you are a seed of the greater seed, don't you have that love in you? Why seek for it outside when it's in you? Why can't you tap within you? Cultivate it. If you need to remove the weeds, remove the weeds. But it lies within you. And when you nurture it, self-nurture, and cultivate it, and work towards self-acceptance and self-love, it will bubble forth and ripple. And you don't need to even say, I'm giving you love, I'm sharing. There's no need, because your auric field will be permeated by this love, which is our true God nature. I will repeat, Seek for nothing outside yourself, because there's nothing outside yourself that will ever fulfill nor make you content. You are that which you're seeking. Be the seeker and the answer of that which you actually think you're seeking. There's nothing external. There's nothing outside of yourself that will ever make you content. It's an illusion. The power lies within you. Reclaim it, honor it, and embrace it gracefully.
Dr. Motsisi, what's really interesting is that in your book, this beautiful piece of work, the gem Lotus of 1,000 Petals, you speak about layers of self, right? You touch, and I believe you touched on it in the conversation. If we are made in the image of love, and if love is our spiritual inheritance, then what are these layers that we are talking about?
Sure, you're actually raising a lot of energy in me, because you're touching something profound. When we stop me if I'm losing you or I'm saying things that I'm moving out, because it's important that everybody must be in sync with us. Yes. We are multi-dimensional beings, okay? When I say we are multi-dimensional beings, I mentioned earlier, I said in 3D. 3D, 3 dimension, it means it's defined by length times breadth times height. All this you can touch. They are tangible. You see them. It's operating within your 5 senses. When I say 5 senses, your eyes, you see, it's in 3D. You hear, it's in 3D. You taste, it's in 3D. Your 5 senses. Your tangible form, the physical form, it's actually you can touch, you can relate. But beyond the 3D, there's 4D, 5D, 6D, up to 9D, you can function up to that higher level. I'm able to function at that higher level. And if I can function, it doesn't mean that others cannot. It's just that they are not aware. So if you limit yourself functioning only on 3D, you'll hear people saying, because I don't see it, it doesn't exist. That's not true. Say you don't see it with your physical eyes, so it doesn't exist. But others who the veil has been lifted, or they are able to transcend 3D, they see nothing is hidden. Nothing. They see the unseen. They hear the unspoken. They can discern energy. They can read vibration, because they are operating within their multidimensional state of being. Mm-hmm. I will add, we are energy. We are energy in motion. Energy can transmit from a lower vibration to a higher vibration. When you are in the physical body, it's solid. You can touch it. So it's dense energy. Because it's dense energy, it's reading more of your carbon. So it's heavy, so you can touch. But once it transmutes from solid, it transmutes itself to liquid. You can still see the liquid. And then when it transmits, it can be vapor. Let's go to nature, because we are of nature. When I say we are of nature, we are made of the same elements that actually compose nature. We are made of earth. When you die, we actually cremate, or we bury you, return to the soil. We are made of earth. We are made of fire. Where is the fire? When the chemical reaction in your body, digestion and everything, they require heat to take place. So there is the fire element in us. We are made of water. The bloodstream runs in you. The waters of Mother Earth is the same as the bloodstream in you. We are made of air. You breathe, you think you're alive because you're breathing. It's the same air, it's oxygen. You give, the planets give you oxygen, in return you give the plants carbon dioxide. So why do we separate ourselves from Mother Nature or nature itself when we are made of the same elements? Earth, fire, water, and air, and ether. When all of them they mix, it creates vapor ether. That's what we are made of. So when I talk about energy, energy can transmute. Energy is never lost. Even when a person dies, that is of the physical, not of the spirit. Death It's of the physical. You park the car, it gets buried, but the spirit carries on with its own journey. Why? It's energy. From the physical energy, that energy will go back to earth. It's dense energy. But energy can transmute. The law of transmutation during antiquity, go Egypt, ancient Egyptians, the law of transmutation, if you read the emeralds, the book of Thoth, the emerald tablets, it will tell you what energy transmits itself from low vibration to high vibration. I'm talking to you, I can already feel the energy. I'm not with you at the studio, I'm at a distance, but I can read the energy field we're operating because I can feel. And if there's any disturbance, I will be able to register because we're working through a field. I might not see it, but it's alive, it's active, and it's in sync with the energy of the universe. So energy can transmit from a low vibration to a high vibration. Same like us. The dense form is the solid, it's solid energy. And then when energy transmutes, if somebody has done physics, you know what energy will move from low to high vibration, from solid to liquid and to ether, air. We are like that. When you breathe in the morning or when it's cold, winter is coming, you'll see vapor coming out of your mouth. It's energy. It's energy. When you go and pee, it's water. It's another energy. Number two, it's another energy. It's hard mass. It's hard. It's solid. But at the end of the day, when you look at the human body, I marvel at myself sometimes when I look at myself in this body, and I'm like, goodness Lord, I'm a testament of so much aspect of energy play itself in me.
The voice of Dr. Mmatheo Motsisi, who is quite the extraordinary individual practicing indigenous healing for over 3 decades. This includes the fields of acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, physiotherapy, colon hydrotherapy, integrative healthcare, and spiritual healing. And she joins us on the line to further this discussion. Doctor, you know what's really interesting that you're making mention of is the exchange, the travel, the frequency of energy between individuals and within individuals. Given that we are contextualizing this in I think, what might appear as an abstract explanation, right? I want us to somewhat come down to the human tangible experience. And I know that you have touched on examples. You've spoken about our day-to-day physical activity is energy, right? But how do we get to understand who we are through the observations of energy, through understanding that the core and crux of my being is spirit and love is my spirit inheritance? How do I then begin to unearth who Sheila is, whoever who is tuned in at this very moment, thinking to themselves, I want to understand myself better, but it sounds abstract when we talk energy. It sounds abstract when we talk love. It sounds abstract when we talk 3, 4, 7th dimension. How do I tangibly begin this process?
That's a powerful question, and thank you for actually bringing it close to the core. It's very important because when we relate to ourselves more in the physical, because that's what we can touch, we can feel, and we can see. But we forget to understand that even before we enter this physical plane, during conception, it's the spirit that will actually choose a body, a parent or whatever, and choose to actually manifest and be born into this world. And when you are born, interesting that when you come here, you don't have a name or a label. We acquire names. We acquire labels. Myself, with so many names and labels. Dr. Motsisi being one of them, and I'm none of those labels. I'm just a being experiencing life here on earth. So we acquire names and we acquire labels, and we tend to think the names and the labels, they define us. We are that which we've been labeled. We are that which we've acquired. But we tend to forget that the name and the label is just a social role. And in the process, then we think we must fulfill certain roles, and then because it's our human nature or God nature for us to share the love, experience this blanket of love that we are wearing, and it's energy. Love is energy, by the way. Everything is energy. So we want to share that which we have in us. But along the way, we tend to think we don't have this love because of the conditioning from an early age. I remember I did study psychology. The Pavlov effect, where you must act in a certain way and you'll be rewarded. That's what kicks in from an early age, that for every action you are rewarded. So from as early as when you are small, if you behave in a certain way, the mother or the parent will shower you with attention and love. So we attach love to a reward. We attach love to, I must earn it. I used to think I must earn it until I awakened that I am loved. I don't need to earn it. I have it in abundance. So you think I must earn it. I must prove myself. I can withhold it from the other person. What a greatest illusion to even think you can withhold energy, which is love, from somebody else. What are you holding on? Because what basically you're doing, you're blocking yourself. And once you believe that it's not enough, this blanket of love which the universe has roped all of us, it's not enough. You are driven by scarcity. You are driven by scarcity. I must survive. Who came with survival? One of the scientists. I don't know. Yeah, we are here as species. Yes, as species, we're here to survive. I forgot which scientist, because I'm into the science. Yes, we're here to survive. That's not true. We're not here to survive. We're here to live a life. We're not here. Life is not a puzzle to be solved. You're not here to fix anything. Nothing was ever broken. Neither are you broken to be fixed, unless you think you are broken, because you must go and look for something to mend you outside of yourself. It's all within you. It's all within you. It's all within you, because I have awakened to the realization that I do not need anything outside myself to complete me. To complete me. I already have it in you for me to share with the other. But it's either the other. Share means you exchange. You don't allow yourself to be sucked. You exchange. Energy is about you give, you receive. You exchange. That's the law of physics. For an action, intention will be preceded. Action will be preceded by an intention. There has to be an intention, and then action will follow. So you exchange. This is why we've got two hands. You don't have one. You cannot just be giving. You give and you receive. You exchange. You flow. Energy flows. If you look at energy, if you look at nature, it's so beautiful. If you can observe nature and then you see the how things flow, you'll realize for everything it's a dance. We are beings, Africans, it's even so beautiful. We love to dance because it's in us to dance and rejoice. But I find it all over the world where I've been. You need to share your energy. Share means as you share, you allow yourself to flow in a certain direction. As you flow in a certain direction, in return, it will flow back to you. It reciprocates. But if you think love is something that you give, you hold, you control, you manipulate, oh, wow. Sure. I'm even feeling hot because so much work. But if you flow, when you flow, it flows. Have you seen water? Water is one element that I respect, and I respect all the elements. You can try and block water will always take the path of the least resistance. It will flow where you think it won't flow. It will flow. So we energy, be in the flow and take the path of the least resistance. And if you are that love, flow. Those who meant to receive will receive. And in return, they will reciprocate that energy. Those who are stingy and they cannot receive, it will pass them. It won't force. There's no need to force. There's no need to repair. There's no need to fix. Because nothing was ever broken. It's an illusion. You are not here to save anybody. You are not a Messiah except a Messiah to yourself.
Dr. Motsisi, I think just taking off a poem you wrote that can be found in the book, the gem Lotus of 1,000 Petals, you go on to speak about your name. And you say, Mmatheo, the name I carry true. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you had made mention of the fact that we engulf ourselves in the idea of a name giving us identity or a label giving us identity, whereas we are spirit experiencing earth, right? You even went on to say that I go by many names, and Dr. Motsisi is one of them, but that is not me. You are a spirit being experiencing earth. What is the mental, I suppose, posture that one is supposed to be in when thinking about names, when thinking about positions, when thinking about their roles to play in various aspects?
Interesting. When you said my name, you even made me tearful because it's such a heavy name. When you let me just divert a bit. When in African culture, there's always a naming ceremony depending on how you're raised. A name will be given, and they will observe maybe the weather when you are born, or the energy that you bring into the family, and also if they are able to connect deeply with the spirit that has chosen to manifest itself through the body, which now it's you, it could be revealed. Your sacred mandate, what you're bringing, the gifts you're bringing into this physical plane. So you find that Kasetswana, they will say, Alina in Seromo, meaning your name, you are being sent to fulfill a certain mandate, a sacred mandate, and you need to live to honor your name. So the name itself, it evokes so much tears because for a long time I tried to run away from this name. I've embraced it because I realized it was not the name I was running from. I was running from the sacred mandate that I agreed when I chose to come into this physical plane to fulfill. So I'm working with awareness. I'm working with great respect that I do not live for self, for myself, but I chose to be here during this great shift. And there's a role, and there's a role not only physical, but also in spirit and sacred contracts and mandates that my spirit chose to fulfill under this small body of so-called in this world, Dr. Motsisi. What a name. Yes, but it doesn't define me. So when we come here, you acquire a name, and then you adopt that name. Then you study and you go to institutions, you acquire a qualification, or you are certificated, whichever way you want to look at it. Then you're able to do certain things. But at the end of the day, at the end of the journey, when you look into who we are as a spirit, the spirit is not even interested in all those acquired names, labels. I'm a South African, I'm an American, I'm whatever. All those that we pride ourselves with, they are meaningless. They mean nothing, because at the end of the spirit, at the end of the day, the spirit that has chosen to manifest self in you, it doesn't have a gender, it doesn't have citizenship, it doesn't have Dr. So-and-so, all those things, because at the end of the day, when as the journey unfolds and you fulfilled your mandate and you let go of this heavy garment, which I call the physical, and you carry on in your spiritual journey. When I'm in my spirit, I'm not seen as Dr. Motsisi or Mmatheo or all those fancy names that I've acquired, many of them. It's just a name. I'll be seen, or I see myself as a spirit on a journey and exploring, and I dance with others at that level. But when I'm in this body, just like if you are driving to Pretoria, you need to follow a certain map. You passing this road, you passing that road. But does it really matter? What if I don't want to be driving, I want to fly? Do you get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the names and the labels, they just serve as to offer direction, so that direction and maybe identification, temporary identification, I say, because at the core of our being, we transcend names, we transcend labels, and we're so attached to material things that define us that at the end of the day, we have lost who we are. And in losing who we are, instead of working towards coming home to self and remembering our authentic self, we actually moving further and further from our authentic self. Let me refer to nature. You see, we say, now we talk about global warming and all that, but if you look back at nature, every time humans try to improve on nature, they actually do more harm. Nature is not there to be improved at. Why I'm saying that? Mother Nature has within self the triune cosmic powers of the universe. Mother Nature can create and recreate self. And if whatever Mother Nature has recreated, it's no longer serving the good of her children, she will transmit the energy, and we call that destroying. And if it's serving and recreate, it will be preserved. And we have that. If you yourself, you're a creative artist. You create and recreate, and if it's not serving, you transmute, you do it like that. Why can we not learn from nature and flow? Why do we always want to tame the untamable? Why? Humanity has done well domesticating animals. If we consider ourselves to be the two-legged and we are animals, do we want to be domesticated like the rest? That's a question. That's a question. I don't want to be domesticated. I don't want to be tamed. Wild, in my wild sense, how I was created, I want to be in sync and match the energy of Mother Nature. I don't want to be domesticated. We domesticate animals to an extent that even human beings want to domesticate each other and tame them. Why do you tame that which is untamable? Why even allow yourself to be tamed and be given labels and roles and classification, and you think it's normal?
Doctor, you've given us much to think on. I think just in closing, for the first of very many conversations, I hope, with you, let's talk about the gem Lotus of 1,000 Petals, a book that invites individuals to embark on a sacred journey of self-liberation, spiritual awakening, and healing. Let's talk about the crux and core of the book.
Before I answer that part, let me just read this poem of the gem. Because when I wrote that poem, or when I got that insight, I was sitting in the pond and I was looking at this gem, and I was going through a period in my life where I was holding back and thinking, sometimes you say, okay, if I allow myself to embrace who I am, what will they say? I might need to let go of 1, 2, 3. I had to let go of what I perceive to be comforts and embrace who I am. So I just want to read the poem, and it says, the gem, the lotus comes from a muddy terrain, and then it will rise every morning, and then it's like it's saying to the sun, here I am, I'm opening up and I'm absorbing the the life force, the sun. So I saw myself as a lotus. So now I'm leaving the label Dr. Motsisi, may I be the lotus that I am. And I will read the poem. From the muddy, stagnant terrain, it rises, a lotus, emerging in reverence of all elements. In the embrace of the sun, the life force, it stretches towards its light. Basking in the warmth of its existence, the wind. With its gentle breath, the wind caresses its being, whispering secrets of the eternal to its 1,000 petals. It rests upon its lips like a lover's kiss, soft yet filled with knowing. Each petal of the lotus unfurls in sacred affirmation, a declaration of its sovereignty unto itself. In the opening of its 1,000 petals, it's a surrender completely to the currents of life, to the unknown, to the dance of the universe. It rises not in defiance, but in harmony, with the elements guiding its soul, and through the waters of transformation, in full surrender to all that is, it blooms. It is the gem, the lotus of 1,000 petals. And when I reflected on that, I was sobbing, I was crying, because I'm human after all, I do cry. And I was going through those emotions of experiencing that. And the words that came to me were this, as I reflected, were that in the unfolding of my 1,000 petals, I discovered the truth of who I am. I discovered that I'm sovereign, I'm eternal, and I'm one with all that is. And therefore, nothing limits me unless I allow it and I surrender my personal will for that to take over me. I write my own script.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. With that being said, where can people access the book?
The book is with Amazon internationally and locally, South Africa, with Take a Lot.
Dr. Motsisi, thank you so much for joining us this evening. This has been an absolute pleasure, and we cannot wait to see the work that your book will churn out for very many who open the book, who are ready to take that journey of self-discovery, self-liberation, and spiritual awakening.
Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to exchange the energy through speaking. I'm empowered and uplifted by just being in your space, in your auric field. Thank you.
That podcast was courtesy of Channel Africa, the African perspective.